Welcome back, Web3 TV. I'm Cristina Najera. Welcome to Freedom with Web3 podcast. I'm very happy to have you here. If you are here, you are going to discover how to enter the crypto space, how to discover the latest updates and news on cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Web3. And today, I have a very special guest for you. If you're a woman and if you are wondering how you can enter this space, what is crypto, why you should care, here, you need to watch this until the end because you are going to understand more about this industry, about how, as a woman, you can enter the space. So please welcome Mariangel. She is from Venezuela. I'm very happy to have her here because I feel she's one of the few Latin women that lives in Dubai and that is on crypto. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm very happy to be here at your space, sharing all these stories with your community. So yeah, once again, I'm very excited to start this conversation.
Yes, I remember when I met you, I was so excited because, as I mentioned, you are one of the few women. And then I was looking at your profile and I saw some pictures of you on Venezuela where you were hosting events. I would love to know more. How did you start your crypto journey?
Wow, it's been a journey. It's been a few years now. It happened when I was in college, and I heard about Bitcoin for a while. I think the first time I heard about Bitcoin was probably 2013, because back then there was people mining Bitcoin as a source of income, as a source of investment, and it was popular in Venezuela. So that was the first time I heard about it, but I was too young. I wasn't even in college the first time I heard the word Bitcoin. But when I was in college, one of my friends was into mining and I was working remotely. So I already had an issue, which was, how do I get my paycheck if I'm working remotely and my local bank won't accept international transfers because of this economic situation of my country? And that's when I found out that this Bitcoin thing I heard years ago was actually a solution for this issue I was facing. And also I was going to be able to contribute to this network, to invest, and to also be part of this global bank or global payment solution that it felt very good for me as a Venezuelan and for many people in Venezuela. So that was actually the first time when I started being closer to this little world. It wasn't easy because back then the information in Spanish was pretty limited and I was a psychology student. I'm not into tech, or I wasn't into tech back then. I wasn't into engineering. My friend was, and he was the one that did all the rig setup, all these cables, all this hardware. And I told my parents, I'm gonna use one of the rooms that we have on our house. I'm going to place a computer there and just don't touch it.
Wow.
And that's how it started. Then every time it stopped working, because it's like having a baby, you have to always check that everything's running, that the connection is running well, that everything is on place. I had to try to fix it myself because my friend wasn't available 24/7 for this, for sure. And I had to learn. By myself. Again, the information in Spanish was pretty limited. So I went to several blogs. I found out that Telegram, which wasn't the main messaging app in South America back then, was also a place where many people that was into crypto was active there. In Latin America, we use mostly WhatsApp, so Telegram was also something new for me. I think that for everyone during that time. And the little things I was learning, I was also sharing because I tried to join as many group chats as I could. And there was a lot of people with the same questions I had. There was people that was more experienced. And we were in Venezuela, where this was an amazing opportunity to have an external income that helped us through the situation. So every little thing I was learning, I also try to help because it was helping me back then. I continue having my remote work, but I was every day getting more involved into everything related to crypto. And when I started getting my first altcoins, because I mined Bitcoin, but also other altcoins, I had to exchange them for real money. So that's when I found out that, okay, these tokens I'm getting, I have to go to an exchange and then change it for local money. So it was a whole process. It wasn't easy. Yeah. I mined the tokens, then I went to the exchanges, then I had to get the money on the exchange, look for people that gave me our local currency, which in Venezuela back then, it wasn't hard, but it wasn't either the most simplest process. And back then, Venezuela was also on the top of countries of Bitcoin volume. So it was definitely interesting times. And we definitely evolved a lot from that time. We now can exchange money in a matter of minutes. People's more aware of the importance and the utility of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. And that's how I got into this. And one of the communities I helped the most, because I really enjoyed sharing the little things I was learning, was the Binance community back in 2018. And that's how everything started.
Yes, you started because you had a problem and then you needed to find a way to solve it. So I'm glad you did, because that's what led you to come here and to live in Dubai, which is amazing, because I think that's one of the things that crypto can help with when you really are passionate about something, when you really understand that there is a solution for it's not, I think a lot of people will be in your position if they are in Venezuela or if they are in Argentina or even in all these countries where it's not easy to exchange your money. It's not easy to just, transfer money to another country, or if you are receiving payments from another country, just to get it out. So I believe this is very useful for people who are trying to solve the same issue you had. And then you were very curious, because a lot of people could just, say, okay, I'm going to do what everybody's doing, but then you listen to your friend and then you say, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm not sure how it works, but I'm gonna do it. And then you start helping people, because it's easy just to do it for yourself. So why did you start helping others? Because you could just do it for yourself and keep going, but you decided to help, especially the Binance community that then led you to work with them.
Well, I think that giving or supporting others is also how you learn and how you grow. And this is something that has been present in my life since a very early age. I grew up with my parents taking me to Lions Club's events, for example, which is an international volunteer network. Mm-hmm. And then when I was in high school, I worked with the American Embassy in Venezuela as a youth ambassador. Where I was for a period of time in the United States. I learned about their culture, and then I came back to pay back my country doing volunteer work. So sharing what I have with others and seeing that it benefits others is something that it's like being always part of the dynamic of my life somehow. And that's also how you grow, how you get connections, how you also learn from others. So it's a win-win at the end of the day. And for me, it definitely was. Before all this crypto journey, I worked for a local startup that was solving the banking issue there. Because this is a problem that in my country has a very deep root. And the traditional system was broken, the communications between banks took days. And this is something that at the moment I thought, oh, it's because it's Venezuela, we have issues, politics. But when you go out, you see that this is not a Venezuela issue. This is a international issue. I was in the States for a while before moving to Dubai, and I opened my bank account. It took me a few minutes, almost an hour, waiting for it to happen, when you can nowadays open a wallet in a matter of seconds. So I knew that the banking system in my country was broken. I was a victim of it. Millions were victims of it. And that's why Bitcoin made so much sense to me, because, okay, this is the solution. It's transparent. We don't depend on a third party. We are the real owners of our money, because as Latinos, we know that you really need to own your money. People take their money, take their properties. They try to take everything they own and have it at their houses, because they don't trust third parties. It's not like in other countries where you put it on the bank even if it's jewelry or something else. No. So it makes so much sense, and I'm so happy that the adoption rates in Latin America are so good. And I always speak about it because it's not globally known, maybe because our region is somehow close, but cases like the Argentina one, Venezuela, Brazil are very, very important. And I'm so happy that there's people on a daily basis getting benefits of this and having an easier life in certain areas that before it was a complication for the daily tasks. And also in El Salvador is a good example that we all heard on media several times, but there's more in South America, and there's a lot of people excited about working on local solutions and bringing international solutions to support the people there.
100%. Let's talk about Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin because I feel it's a very easy way for people to understand how the cryptocurrency work, because we have limited Bitcoins, right? You know that at certain point, people will stop mining Bitcoin, so the value will increase a lot. It's basic economics. So I would like to associate this with gold, right? Mm-hmm. We know that gold is limited. That's why people invest on gold, because they will know that they will get the gold. The money is backed by gold. So with Bitcoin, this is backed by energy, right?
Yeah, basically with the story that I just told you at the university, I was having issues. My main issue back then was to own my own money. In order to purchase a subscription on Netflix or to buy something international, just to get my paycheck, I had to rely on my cousin's bank account, and then he sends me the money. Imagine that. Because there are a lot of limitations for certain nationalities. There's a lack of connections between local solutions and international solutions. So this is not a problem of Venezuelans. This is a problem of most emerging markets, especially here in Middle East. I hear so many stories that are so familiar to me because I've been through that. And it's so sad that 6 years later, 7 years later, this is still an issue for many people. So when I did my first Bitcoin transaction, I was like, okay, let's see what this internet money is. And it happened. And I was able to use my local currency, bolivars, to buy Bitcoin, and then vice versa. And it was amazing because Bitcoin was going up and my local currency was going down. And that's when I found out, okay, this is actual value. This is something liquid. I don't depend on anyone. This is something that works 24/7 and provides the freedom, provides the ownership that we were looking for, that we were craving for. So that's something that I really, really, really value, because when you don't have that freedom and when you depend on so many external parties, it's something so frustrating. So that's why I've been focused on the last years on educating people about cryptocurrencies. And it's been a journey also. It's not easy because we have to understand that we are part of an industry where we are privileged by our own decision, because everyone that's here has an interesting story and the time to dedicate. I want to emphasize that because this is an industry that's fantastic because it's open for everyone. If you really want to get into crypto, you can contact me, they can contact you and many people, and I'm sure they will have support to develop their careers here. But that's not the case of many others because they don't have the information. And when you go to them and you tell them, oh, Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer platform, blah, 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 it's complicated. It's complicated. So I took the last years to educate people, to make it simple as possible, because what they just want is to get their money, move their money, and just be free. And there are too many examples. There are too many ways to make it simple right now. I think a good example is also real-world assets, because it's not just about providing a financial tool for people to own their money, but also empower them to invest and to elevate their money culture, especially on emerging markets, on South America, where there are so many mental limitations. People used to think that investing is for the ones that are working at banks, for the ones that are on Wall Street in New York. And you can invest from anywhere. If you're in Colombia, if you're in Caracas, in Buenos Aires, anywhere you can be an investor, and no one can stop you. and you can change your family. You can start creating generative wealth, and the information's open. And there are so many resources, and Bitcoin is the number one. So yeah, I think it's life-changing, and I will carry this message to help as many people as possible.
Yes, you say something very interesting, and it's mindset. I feel that this is very important because being in Dubai, we have access to people from all over the world. We see how they behave depending on the nationality.
Exactly.
I see people from the UK, for example, or from Italy, or from France, or from Spain. I see that their mindset is so different, people from the US. And then I see people from Latin America. And as you mentioned, it's not just about the resources, it's about the mindset, because you can have everything around you, but if in your mindset you think that you need to do a lot of things to get something, but if your mindset said, oh, it's easy, I can do it, it will happen. So doesn't matter what you have around, if your mindset is not the right one, nothing will happen, right? So I want to emphasize on that, because I feel like now we are so grateful because we have everything around us. You can go to Google, ChatGPT, even like ask anything and you can get it, right? So how did you change this mindset? Because I think that's the hardest part.
It is the hardest part, especially coming from Venezuela. It's not a secret that the last year has been very difficult for all of us there. And when we are outside the country, it's also hard. It's not like it's over. Our family is still there. It's our motherland. It will always hurt. And when I was in college, I took the decision of cut the negativity. I am an individual. I know my beliefs. I know what I'm standing for. But there are things that I can't control. And it won't stop me from living, and I'll try to help with the resources I have, whether if it's little or if it's too much, if it impacts one person or many. Because if I stood around that negativity, I wouldn't be here. Because everything I heard around me was, it's over for us, there's no way to succeed if you are in this country. And my story is not special. I mean, there are too many Venezuelans that took the resources they had to work on a better future for them. But I, for example, started working online when I was in college. And it's so funny because I was a Spanish teacher. And back then I wasn't the most fluent English person, but I thought, what do I know that I know well? My language, I can teach Spanish. And then I had a lot of students all over the world. I really enjoyed it. It was so funny. And I told my friends, hey, you could do this. And they were so skeptical, like, how can you work online? How do you get the money? And it's the negativity around that stop people from getting the opportunities. Then on the political situation, I also stopped surrounding myself with negativity. Like I said, I know what I'm standing for. I will support my belief till the end, but I have to move forward, sadly. And that's where I focus 100% on improving myself, on working, on supporting crypto communities. And I was so happy because I felt like I'm doing an impact in my country that's tangible, and that makes me feel like, okay, I'm not isolating myself from the problem. I'm being a solution for this issue. And now, these days, now that I live here in Dubai, as an adult now, it's also something that you have to constantly work on, because when you come from a country like Venezuela or any place in South America, you are on this survival mode, where and stability is something that's usual. You're always expecting something to go wrong. And that's a perk, but also that's a curse. Because that's, in my personal life, that's what always keep me moving, because there could be something that is going to go wrong. I know it's super toxic, but it is what it is. And I just had to learn how to slow down, how to be more grateful for all the things that I have, how to recognize all the journey I had to go through to have all the things that I have today. And I also had to change my mindset around money, because we are Latinos, we are growing up, we grew up chasing money like if it's something so far from us, like if it's something correlated to difficulty, hard work, and so many negative things sometimes. And the truth is that in this age, you have all the resources to do something that makes you happy, that you enjoy, and you also make money. And money doesn't have to be a synonymous of pain, of hard work. You can work smart, and you can live your life, and that's fantastic. And I wish this message reached people in South America, because we know how much they struggle, and everyone has talents, everyone has a gift for this world, that I think it's amazing that now they have resources for millions of people to learn about them. So that's how it goes, and I think that's the best thing that everyone can do to solve this issue, because we all have it, you know. It's to read the book of Psychology of Money. Even if you are super wealthy, I met people who is very wealthy and they are still acting like if they were poor, like chasing something, and life goes on, like life goes very fast. And if you don't enjoy, you don't take time to rest, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will lose yourself. And I decided that I want to be happy, I want to know myself, I want to live every day by my own means, enjoying the things I like, and money is a plus. It's amazing that's there. But it took me some time to reach that point, and that book was a life changer.
Wow, I love this. I didn't know you were, very active on your mindset, reading books,
Yes.
understanding how you think, how you can change and improve your life. And yes, I agree. Dubai is a very fascinating place. I remember when I was living in the Burj Khalifa, we have a residency lounge where only residents can go up and drink some coffee and see the view. It was in the 124th floor. And I met people from everywhere. And as you mentioned, people who were extremely wealthy, they had apartments there. They have like even 40 apartments. And still, you see they are people, like there is nothing special about them. It's not like they have something that makes them special. That's why they have more money. It's just, I think it's a way of how they use money. They are not attached with their emotions with it. It's just, something that is there, but it's not something that is attached to their value or attached to who they are. They just use it as a tool. So I think money is just a tool for whatever you want to do. But yeah, sometimes we think that money is so important. It's the only thing it's important in life. So I think that's something that we all need to work on. And also that Bitcoin or cryptocurrency can help with, because you can have access to money. You can use your money to put in coins, and these coins can go up and you can cash out and you can make more money and so on. So you just need to learn certain skills. As you said, you don't need to work hard. Sometimes you just need to work smart. And with that, I would love to know more about your journey with Bitcoin. I would love to know, how did you went to El Salvador, because this is a city that I would love to visit and fascinating. But knowing that there is a city in South America or in Central America where people can use Bitcoin freely, and you were part of that. So can you share more about it?
Yeah, it was a nice experience to be part of the launch of Bitcoin City, invited by the president of El Salvador. Definitely a milestone in my life, but it was also so cool to see how a government initiative improved so many people's lives. And at first they were a little bit, the people didn't understand it very well. The people of El Salvador, there was a lot of uncertainty. I always like to talk to the people that's on the street, the Uber driver, the receptionist, because they are the ones that will show you the real truth. And they have a lot of uncertainty on what is this Bitcoin thing, because if our salary is $500 and it goes down, then I have $50 less that I'm going to need by end of this month. That's the reality of people in South America. But I'm very happy that it went well, that people knew what's the new meaning of value through Bitcoin. And it also opened many doors for stable coins, for other products. And they know now that there's more beyond banks. Money doesn't equal to banks. You can, if you want to save money, if you want to invest, there are a lot of platforms that are also considered in South America and are opening operations there, which is amazing, because we were always behind in many areas, especially financially. Now that El Salvador made that statement that there's value in our region, it's so amazing for many people, and it's so amazing that there's something positive happening in our region, and it's proof that if you want to change something, you can just do it. And they did it in a matter of less than 10 years, 5 years. It's amazing. Every time you go to South America, you hear problems, everything's slow, but then there's El Salvador saying no, there's no excuse. And South America is so amazing because there are too many things happening, but at the same time, I feel that they don't always reach the mass media. And it's of course not everyone's fault. I mean, El Salvador had the support of their president, which is a huge benefit, but other regions doesn't. And when I tell people that you can go to restaurants in Venezuela, you can pay, you see the QR code to send USDT everywhere. Taxis, you can exchange your money quickly. There are too many solutions, international and local solutions. And if you go to App Store, you see that most of the top download apps are also crypto related. It's also something that they don't believe, or they're just surprised because they're not close to the region. So I invite everyone, especially if you are a business owner in this industry, to consider South America as a fertile market, because people there understand why traditional financial systems doesn't work first person. They understand why they need a currency, they need an asset that actually has value for them, that allows them to save, that allows them to live a normal life. And they are also very tech savvy. You can see that the penetration rates of social media in South America is very high. Mm. And that's proof that they are just one click away of a solution that will change the financial landscape there. And I hope it happens soon, because we've seen so many revolutions in the last years. We see how AI is everywhere. ChatGPT is everyone's best friend now. Social media is everywhere. It's a no-brainer. It's part of ourselves. Then why not a financial solution? Why is it still something that we are still trying to figure out? And I think it will happen once we have a product that's simple, that's humble, no fancy words. It just make things happen, and it's there for the people.
Yes, 100%. Every time I meet somebody, I ask them, how is your Latin American market doing? Because I feel people in crypto focus a lot in Asia. And I've been in so many events, I met so many founders, I have interviewed like 200 people or more. And every time I ask them about South America, they are like, yeah, we will think about it. But because they are so focused on Asia, they see Asia as the primary market for crypto. And you mentioned something very relevant, because I feel the Latin market is very important and it's crucial because people really need it. It's not for gaming, for example. A lot of people are adopting crypto because of gaming. Gamers love to play, and now they can earn, they can own things on the game, something that before didn't happen. However, if you understand more the Latin market, you will see, as you mentioned, that it's not just about gaming, it's not just about something fun to do, it's a need that they have, and it's something that crypto can change and can solve. So yes, I really highly recommend everybody to take a look at the Latin market, because this is a huge opportunity. And if you are around, just send us a message, because we are happy to support with that.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, and with that, I would love to know more about your new company. You just joined a new company, is related to Bitcoin. How is it going?
Yeah, after years working for a centralized exchange, I'm now in the Bitcoin ecosystem. I think there's a fantastic opportunity there, because if you compare it with Ethereum ecosystem, with the total TVL of Ethereum is a very significant percentage of the total Ethereum value, right? Mm-hmm. But if you compare it with Bitcoin, the current TVL of the Bitcoin ecosystem is very, very low compared to the total Bitcoin value. So there's a big room for growth there. And also Bitcoin is the number one. So there's many people around the world that has Bitcoin, many institutions that have Bitcoin. And the most important part of it is that you are able to use your real Bitcoin, your native Bitcoin, as Satoshi bring to the world. But right now, if you want to use Bitcoin on DeFi, you have to use Grab tokens, you have to exchange for other tokens, to use their chains. So that's basically what's happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem. There are a lot of developments happening around the usability and the utility of Bitcoin, which is already big, which is perfect. I have nothing to change, but of course there are other ways to improve and to bring new experiences to Bitcoin holders without changing their rights to be the full owners of their Bitcoin. Their decentralization philosophy is completely untouched. So yeah, that's something I'm currently working, and I'm also trying to educate about the matter, because it's something that I feel like is a niche inside the niche of crypto.
Yes, and you have been sharing that you love to educate and to help people to understand things. So what was the biggest challenge there? Because you mentioned mindsets, and now this is an industry, or this is a very niche place where you are entering. How do you educate them, or how do you share what you want to share with them in an easy way?
Well, the main challenge right now, I guess, is interoperability and also user experience, which is a bit more technical. We need a product that allows these Bitcoin holders to have a DeFi experience with their native Bitcoin easily. And that's something that's going to take time. But in the meantime, we can teach people that they can continue buying Bitcoin, and it's going to have more value in the future. I think we are about to start a very exciting season of our market. Everyone's talking about it, but it's also going to bring more utility, more use cases for these Bitcoin holders. And I think it's very interesting because, again, there are too many institutions, there are too many individuals that they might not be close to crypto, but they bought a little Bitcoin here and there, and now they're going to be able to do something else with that Bitcoin.
Yes, 100%. And I feel that now we are in a good space to keep empowering more women to join the space. I know we are in an industry where it's mostly men dominated, but that's why I love to have women, because being here in this ecosystem, for me, it's easy. I have been in tech most of my life, so for me, I'm so used to being around mostly men. But I know a lot of women who would like to jump into this ecosystem, and they are a bit afraid of that because they think it's only for men, or they think it's not for me, it's very technical. However, I think every single industry needs more women. We bring different talents, different values to the table. So how do you feel being a woman in this ecosystem?
Yeah, I have a little bit of conflict with that phrase of there's need to be more women in the blockchain industry, because I think that is an idea that's out there, but it's far from reality. So when I started working at Binance, now 5 years ago, my program manager was a woman. Then my direct manager was a woman. Then the lead of the market, the CMO, was a woman. And there were fantastic women on all the team. Maybe it's because it was marketing, but even on the technical side, there were always fantastic women bringing expertise and amazing work to what we were building. When I was in Venezuela, the communities were always very diverse. There was an analysis from the Women's Day this year that plays that the countries with most women investors are also emerging markets, because they feel so empowered due to all the circumstances that they live, that they take ownership to move forward despite all the blockers that they found on the road. And when I moved here to Dubai, completely new, I didn't know anyone. The first person I met into crypto that she guided me through, she was a girl. Then on the entrepreneurial side, also girls, Muslim girls. I had the amazing opportunity of supporting an event that happened in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, which is an interesting place for us Latinos, because it feels like we live in two different worlds. And the perception that you have in South America, or in America in general, about the Middle Eastern world is oppression, women can't drive, all these cultural things that I recognize at some point were truth, but these days is completely far from reality. And I went to Saudi Arabia, and I was hosting a hackathon there for BNB Chain, and most of the developers were girls. And these girls, they wear their hijab, their abayas.
More women are coming, especially being here. You see how many women in the Middle East are leading, are being CEOs and being founders. So that's something very, very interesting because, as you mentioned, we have a very different view from Latin America when we think about Middle East, when we think about Muslims and Dubai. So thank you for sharing that. I really empower everyone that is watching, if you're a woman or if you're a man, if you're curious about technology, if you're curious to know how this works and why people are there, just keep watching more content, keep even reading, the Bitcoin white paper. I always say to anyone who come to me and ask me how I can start, just read this paper because it's something that I got at the beginning. And even though it was a bit technical, I think it's very important to understand the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and it's simple. It's a bit intimidating, but it's simple when you go through it. You now have ChatGPT that you can ask it, explain like I'm 5 years old or something. So there are no excuses. If you want something, go for it. Look for people that will help you. If they don't, well, it's their loss because there's a lot of people that's open to support others. And that's what I love about this ecosystem. It empowers the individuals, is that it allows individuals to develop their skills. And I feel like there's no judgment in several areas. Everyone's just focused on building and bringing solutions. And you don't see that in many places.
Yes, and also it's an opportunity in every single industry. So it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to implement crypto in your industry, it's possible. Maybe it takes a bit of time if somebody didn't do it before. However, most of the builders are thinking how to bring the crypto space into any industry. So I believe it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to implement this technology, you can't. So with that, I would love to know if you have some example that you would like to share with the audience about an industry that you like and that is using Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general.
I think that creator economy, it's something I really like because it's already a concept that's running by itself, and it's very, very, very centralized. And it's widely adopted. If you scroll through TikTok lives, you can find girls doing unboxing, makeup tutorials, guys playing, but you can also find someone else teaching how to bake a cake. Mm-hmm. So this is reaching all geos, all people, no matter the age. And I think that's so beautiful. In South America, you see people people that was not active, not the ideal influencer, doing content. So there's definitely adoption happening on the creator landscape, but I think it should be fair. It should be fair because all these platforms are getting billions from advertising. They own the rights of the content these people are doing on their platforms. And most of these creators survive by the rewards of their own community. And sometimes these platforms take high percentages. Mm. So you will be surprised. There are content creators that are huge, millions of followers, but maybe they live in a country that doesn't have a partner program with one of these platforms, and they don't have the same opportunities as if it was someone in the US or in London, you know? So it would be nice to have a decentralized solution that allow these people that's enjoying social media and it's enjoying showing up to have access to the benefits, to build a community that's theirs, not owned by the platform, because when the platform decides that it will shut down your channel, it's gone, no matter how big or small you were. So there have been a few intersections between both worlds. Instagram did some tests, I think with Polygon back then, but we still haven't seen the final result of how it goes. And I hope that in the following years we can have a solution that actually empowers people also on their personal brands and their online visibility.
Thank you so much for sharing. We are learning a lot today from you. I have the last question. Mariangel, can Web3 bring more freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I come from Venezuela. I come from South America. I think that we had so many issues that became worldwide after COVID. But the recurrent situation was that you always found a blocker or something that told you that things are hard, you have to work harder, you have to also limit yourself in many areas. And Web3 doesn't classify people. It's available for everyone, which is amazing. In any emerging market, it empowers people. It brings solutions that are just a click away from you. So it's obvious. It brings a lot of freedom, and it's there. If you are interested, if you want to learn more, just start exploring Web3.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure having you. How people can find you, how people can follow your journey.
Yeah, I'm on social media. My username everywhere is at just Mariangel. Please be careful because there are too many impersonators. I try to engage as much as possible, but I never ask for personal information or funds. Please check that it's always just Mariangel, my name, and that's it. Because there are too many impersonators and I don't want everyone to have a bad experience.
Yes, we need to make sure they are looking at you and they are talking to you, because yes, unfortunately we have these kind of people who create a fake profile. I have been victim of that as well. At the beginning I was very frustrated. I wanted to find out who was that person, but at the end what I realized, I can just keep my content going so people will know that it's me, because I'm constantly sharing what I'm doing, where I am at events here in Dubai. So it was a way to get away from these people. However, what I also did was just to add the verification button, which I think is a bit useful.
I have it too, but somehow they tell people, oh, this is my personal profile. Anyways, you also have, if you're on Web3, you have to learn that you are the owner of your experience, your information, and your money. There are no third parties. So every time you do transactions, you meet people, you use products, you have to verify.
Yes, I think that's very important. Just do your research and make sure whatever link you are pressing is the right link, because some links can lead you to the wrong places. So just be careful, just be mindful and keep learning. Read about it, understand how it works. There are a lot of resources in Spanish now. I'm so happy because back in the day, Spanish was not a way to learn. Now it's available. So keep watching, and it was a pleasure having you. Thank you again. And thank you for watching. Remember to share this with your friends, because everybody deserves to know more about Web3, AI, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. I'm Cristina Najera. See you next time.